Good afternoon, everyone. So I guess we're here today a little bit to talk a little bit about the dysfunction, and we're going to make this short and sweet because I do have the estimates process to get into, and I know that the Premier over the last couple of days have been dodging the estimates process, but I think it's very important that, and I appreciate all of you being here, because we want to talk about a little bit of dysfunction and how this government is mistreating Manitobans and the legislative process as well, right here in the Ledge. Whether that's, I'm going to answer some questions on the cancelling of a few different projects throughout the province. We're going to talk a little bit about some bills that we've asked to proceed through proper process here, legislative process. It just again, we're seeing an absolute magnification of the dysfunction of this NDP government. And so, with that, we'll start it up with, we'll get to some questions.
The Lake St. Martin bloodshed MOU, the project was in review. It wasn't going anywhere fast anyway under the previous government, but now there's an additional level of review and discussion before things can proceed.
That's what I'm understanding, Steve.
What do you make of the ongoing delay?
To be honest with you, Steve, I'm not sure what to make of it. So we're talking about floods in 2011, 2014, under the previous government. We're talking about floods and some major devastation going all the way back to the 1970s. And you're right. Is this something that needed to be done very quickly and acted upon? I think that's a yes and no type of answer. I think definitely we need to make sure that this continues to move forward, for the fact that we've seen communities devastated, we've seen property not even being able to be repaired, and we've seen people lose absolutely everything and still are being displaced. So for the minister to come out and cancel the entire project and not really be there, and she's being disingenuous with Manitobans on the various different reasons, from what I'm hearing anyways. I think the Premier and the Infrastructure Minister are definitely going to be on the hook for yet another flood under their watch. I hope I hope one's not coming, but we have to be ready.
But you've said the Interlake Tribal Council has said they weren't fully consulted by the Manitoba government. This review is apparently to undergo more consultation. So the project wasn't really going forward anyway. At this rate, the feds kept saying they're not consulting enough. They kept throwing it back at the province. So does the former government not bear the bulk of the responsibility?
Bear the bulk of the responsibility for stopping this project? No. I think there were hundreds and hundreds of consultations that have been done with First Nations, with community members. As you can see online, I think it's still online unless the Minister for Infrastructure has gone and deleted all the documents today, but you see some technical documents translated into Ojibwe and Cree. I mean, there's evidence showing that there was work being done. Was it moving slower or faster as people would like? You tell me, from what you've seen in government over the last how many ever years you've been covering it, right? Probably not moving as fast. But that being said, I think consultations was happening. I think many had happened. I think some of the various different adaptations and tweaks to the whole process was being listened to. And I think from what I could see that was happening was that those concerns were definitely being taken to heart and working on those documents, those technical documents that were online, but also that were shared with various community members for their input. Bart.
You said a little bit ago, you called it canceling the project. Sorry, I'm just giving you a chance to clarify. Do you believe the project has been canceled?
You know what, Bart? Over the last just over a year, I've seen the word paused be used multiple times with this NDP government. And what it's actually turned out to be is absolutely cuts or cancelled. So I guess time will tell. If it's really paused, I guess we'll see. That's all I've got for you right now. Do I really believe that it's cancelled? I don't really know, Bart. Only the minister and the premier can actually answer that. And he's been dodging estimates and QP process for days. Any other questions?
Another topic. Today, the speaker, before he rose at the end of question period, where he rose and talked about the tone and the tenor of the heckling and it being nastier, and he specifically pointed out opposition MLAs were targeting people in the House, and he wanted them to stop. What do you say to that?
Is that what you exactly heard, Carol?
That's generally what I heard.
Was it generally, or was it what he said?
He didn't specify which group. And he said, I hope that is...
Didn't specify which group, and he didn't specify which side of the chamber. And so, multiple times, I have shared with this group, with you, the media, multiple times, toxic environment, abusive, when the cameras are off, when the microphones are off. I've invited all of you to come back in to the gallery and watch what is happening. We've seen this week some more serious allegations towards this premier. It is frustrating to sit in there and try to ask questions and speak on behalf of Manitobans. Ask questions to the ministers, ask questions to the premier, and not necessarily get the answers, but then get the bullying behavior directed right back. So again, I invite all of you, come back up into the media gallery and see and listen to exactly what is being said, what is happening, and also what the Speaker of the House is sharing.
Do you think that the speaker was unfairly singling out the opposition for this?
I'm not going to pass judgment on the Speaker. I know the Speaker has a tough job as Speaker of the House. I've seen it in opposition, I've seen it in government, and now I've seen it in opposition again. I think the decorum, as I've said in the spring, it's toxic in there at times. I think there's definitely behaviors that definitely need to be toned down and corrected at times. And at times, I of course, defending my team and being part of Her Majesty's opposition, or His Majesty's opposition, know that at times it looks like one side is getting targeted a little bit more than others, as far as being reprimanded by the Speaker. So again, I'll leave that up to you to come in and watch and listen and what happens when those cameras and the microphones are off.
Will it be any better when you get back from constituency week?
I don't know, Carol. I'm assuming. On that, you know what? I'm going to turn things over to our health critic, my colleague from Roblin, to talk about a little bit about, again, that dysfunction that I was talking about, various legislation that's coming close. As one of you had mentioned, we've got a week of constituency week coming up. Then we've got 2 more weeks of this session. There's a few bills that we're looking at, as you've all heard, that were denied leave. We've got, of course, Bill 221 that was represented by brought forward by the member for Roblin, and of course we've got Bill 209 from the leader of the Liberal Party. So I'll turn it over to my colleague, MLA Cook, the MLA for Roblin.
Thanks, Wayne. I'll keep this short. So as all of you know, I've introduced a bill in the legislature that would require the government to lower the age for breast cancer screening to 40 by the end of 2026, and would also require the minister to report annually on the number of screening mammograms that have been completed. Now, the minister, following the introduction of the bill and during second reading debate, went out into the rotunda before debate was completed and stated that they would, in fact, be following the timeline recommendation laid out in my bill, which is fantastic news. But it does make me wonder why they refuse to call the bill to committee to allow the public to come in and present on it. As I know, there is a strong amount of public support and some very passionate advocates who would like the opportunity to come to the legislature to talk about this important issue and ultimately to pass the bill. The only thing that's in the bill that the minister hasn't already committed to is the transparency and accountability of reporting annually on the number of screening mammograms done. I can only conclude that the minister doesn't want to be transparent and accountable with Manitobans on that front. Otherwise, there's just no reason not to pass this bill. If there's no questions about that, I'd like to invite Ms. Lamoureux up to discuss her bill.
Thank you, everybody.